unless there's a button I can press which allows people to chat. Oh my god, fucking everyone joining. Let's see if I can share screen. Oh no, it's refusing to let me share screen. I hate it when it does this. Give me 1 second, just gonna boot up the project so it allows me to share. Stupid Discord.
Yay, I can speak now.
Yep.
That's probably not a good idea with so many people, though.
Probably. We'll see.
The hand raising thing is probably good.
Right, okay, here we go. Sorry about this, chaps. Just bear with me for a second. Okay, let's see where we're at. So I'll do, yeah. So this will basically be a rundown on the basics of how you guys can start messing around with kit bashing and creating your own kind of inventions and things, which should be pretty fun. It's going to be fairly straightforward. You know, you're only going to need a couple of basic programs you can install for free, but hopefully it should be enough for you to start kind of trying out some interesting combinations and really creating your custom Space Marine, however you need it. So what we're not going to be doing is covering like how to do, you know, full-on 3D models and importing them into Blender and things, because that's honestly a bit beyond this and it's a very kind of in-depth, complex process. But we can get started. So I'm very excited to show that we now have capes. I've just been trying to polish up the physics and things and stop them from like clipping through your legs. Bear with me as that comes along. Well, I'll show you some of the cool stuff we've been able to make and kind of how we got to this stage. So, first thing people will notice, let's just put on a, I don't know, let's go with Blood Ravens or something. Ugh. Let's go a slightly nicer shader. Boom. I think there's a cheeky leg. Cool. So first thing you'll notice is that in this like expanded customization, we've got a lot more slots than we previously had. So that is a big thanks to Ethereal. Please make sure to give him a sub on Ko-fi and stuff if you could afford it. He very much deserves it. So we're having a big think on how we're going to go about kind of giving you as much customization as you can over the characters. So as such, we've split the head up into 3 parts. We have the, you know, your kind of basic character customization head, which let me show you. And hopefully it won't crash. Okay, it hasn't. That is good. Oh my god, Nightmare Titus. Ugh. Ignore him for now. So we've got a head. We've included a few extra heads, which are from the kind of guardsmen that you find throughout the game. We particularly like this one, who's the officer/conquest, depending on who you ask. We've got a few cursed female Space Marines. Gadriel, all the gang. Chiron and Titus have been causing issues, which is why they're currently kind of a bit cursed/disabled. And I've also thrown in the Chaplain head to allow us to do some kind of fun combinations. But we'll take good old Conquest and go through what the other slots at the moment are doing before we then dive in. So we have the helmet slot, which is fairly self-explanatory. I've put together a kind of basic suite of kind of the more interesting combinations we can do, as well as covering the kind of, you know, standard ones for each of the classes. So we've got Gravis, Phobos, Tacticus, and the kind of Heresy helmets, as well as a couple of other ones I've sculpted and put together. So, where things get interesting is the accessory slot. So these are all of your forehead kind of icons, your hoods, your laurels, your kind of crests and things. And I put some work into editing all of the character models so their foreheads are kind of in the appropriate positions. Let me just make it gold so it looks a bit prettier. Where's his cheeky face? There we go, that's better. So beforehand, I'm sure many of you will remember that we used to have kind of floating skulls and stuff coming off the front of the character. That's no longer the case. I've put some work in to kind of edit them subtly enough where most of the accessories work with each helmet type. Where there are kind of major differences, so that's things like the bonding studs, I've developed a system where they'll kind of adjust according to which helmet you have equipped. We've also done one other cool thing, which is where if you have something like, let's pick a particularly bulky item. So let's say you have, I forget what this is called, the kind of the equivalent of a Blood Angels Iron Halo thing. We have a system in place as well, where depending on the helmet you've picked, if it's appropriate to have it or not, it'll get equipped or unequipped. So you see down here, where it's any kind of bare head options, they don't appear, whether that be forehead icons or helmet attachments, and the ones where there is a helmet, they appear. This is all very editable, very customizable, which we'll dive into. So, yeah. We've got quite a few options. I think my favourite one with this head has to be this. It just looks so ridiculous. But right, kitbashing. So let me show you the programs that you need and the stuff that I recommend, and then we'll go over kind of common cases that cause crashes and kind of things to avoid and things to look out for. So if we back out the game, actually I'm going to load it in the background because I'll show you a technique that I do. So this is Notepad++. It's really useful. You can edit stuff in Notepad, but I'd recommend Notepad++ because it comes with a bunch of features that make things a lot easier to navigate. One of which is that you have a language tab, which the language you want to use for this is C, which kind of nicely color coordinates things and tends to highlight that, like, if you fucked up something, you get little errors and things that appear. And yeah, I like it. It helps me kind of read the titles and stuff versus the entries, etc. So where do you find this file? So in my case, some stuff that I've done to kind of speed things up is I make a lot of use of the quick access tab. So I have a cheeky little button that takes me straight to local, which is inside Space Marine client root local. And we're going to go into SSL, which is like Sabre scripting language. Then we're going to follow this down into body, customization, character customization library. We close these other tabs. Don't need any of that. So it's going to look quite daunting, where we've got this long old list of a million. How many characters? It doesn't say. Oh yeah, 15,000 lines of code to go through. Luckily, one of the benefits of setting our language to C is we can go and like collapse regions. So one thing that I've done to try and make everyone's lives a bit easier is I've put, as all the characters are kind of sharing the same items, I've put all of the customizations into shared outfit parts. We're hijacking some of the slots that are being used for kind of coloring different body parts and stuff to create these new entries. And so some of the stuff might not make sense. So like helmet lenses we're using for accessories, helmet we're using for helmet, right bracer we're using for all the heads, and left bracer we're using for the kind of tabards and things. But so, let's go for a quick way to start editing some stuff. So what I've tried to do is I've kind of split all the parts up into 3 types, or well, 4 I guess technically. We've got Tacticus, which is your basic, Primaris Marine. We've got Phobos, which are the sneaky boys. And we have Gravis, which is your heavy character. And so Tacticus chest 01, Phobos chest, legs, arms, whatever, are the kind of the most basic implementation of bits that you need to create a body part. And these are broken up into various bits. So some of them aren't named the best. It's inherited a lot of the naming from the kind of base game, but I've gone and tried to rename things to make sense where they can. So one thing to bear in mind is that Phobos Torso Chest and Torso Chest 1 are these bits. Or Phobos Torso Chest, whoops. Sorry, my blender's a little bit slow while I'm streaming and it's a big file. So Phobos Torso Chest and Torso Chest 1 are these kind of shoulder pad things that live kind of beneath the shoulder pads. And we have those as part of the torso because it doesn't really matter what shoulder pad you equip, you always want those on. So if we now go back into Notepad++, so we have our basic Tactics chest. These are all the different kind of chest plates and the main kind of torso armor. They've got a belt base, then a belt badge, his neck, then Cuirass shared base is kind of the main chest piece, and Cuirasso one, for whatever reason, is the kind of little silver neck thing that their head sits on. But let's go see. So to start with, the easiest way of kind of taking a look and getting a sense of what's going on is to, we'll just chuck on something that's a little bit less aggressive on the eyes. Compare the differences between, let's say, breastplate 0 or breastplate 1 and breastplate 2. And luckily, one thing to bear in mind is that the order in which you have these displayed here will be the order they appear in the menus, with the exception of any DLC, which gets shoved to the bottom. So that throws things off a bit. So ideally, once I kind of finalize all this, we'll have DLC living at the bottom, because then it'll all be in the same order as it's in the file. But so, Torso Chest 1, Torso Chest 2. So you can see there are a few differences. One thing that's quite nice in Notepad++ is if you double click something, you can see it kind of highlights in the other places. So we can see here that the big differences are the neck. This is Tacticus Neck 2 versus Neck 1. And we've added a whole bunch of belt bags, which you can see got all our belt bags, the neck with the kind of indent in it, and the cuirass, instead of using shared base, we use Cuirasso 2, which comes with the Aquila baked into it. So, if we wanted to add a new chest piece, let's call this one, for now we'll call this one chest piece 00. And so a common bug that people encounter is that if you have two of these pieces named the same thing, the game won't launch. You'll get stuck in the main menu and it'll just infinitely load. It's basically encountered an error saying I don't know what to do. It's got two of the same thing, help. So that will cause problems. So we want to, we copy these, we create a new thing. First thing you should always do when you duplicate a slot is rename it, because otherwise you'll forget and then you'll go, oh my god, it's broken, I don't know what to do, help. So yeah, rename it first thing and you'll help yourself avoid lots of issues. And we're going to take a look at Tacticus Neck 01, and let's try replacing that with Tacticus Neck 03. And what you can do is if you go, okay, I want to get a sense of like what these different neck pieces are, one thing that helps is to go, okay, well these are going neck piece 1, neck 2, neck 3, neck 4, neck 5. So we know that if we count through these, this is neck 2, this is neck 3, this is neck 4. So I really like neck 4, I think that one's kind of cool. So we're going to update this one to say neck 04. And then let's take a look, what other pieces do we like? I quite like these cloth bits. And so I've tried to name them in a way that kind of makes sense. So these bits are either going to be called Chaplain, and then we've got Tank further down before we go into Phobos. So this piece, looking at it, will be Chaplain 2, because we've got Chaplain 1 here, Chaplain 2, Chaplain 3, Chaplain 4. So let's go down to Chaplain 2. And we are looking for the rope that surrounds his chest. So we can see here we have a piece called Tacticus Cuirass Rope 01. So I'm going to drag from the end where we've got this speech mark upwards. Hit Control C to copy it. We're then going to scroll back up to our one that we made. You can see it's highlighted orange for us, which is nice and helpful. And I'm going to click at the end of the speech mark here, hit paste. And because I copied kind of one line above, this way if I just click after the speech marks, it'll just enter a new line. I don't have to worry about hitting kind of space and enter and reorganizing it. So we now know that this piece is going to have it's going to have this neck, and it's going to have this rope. Let's take a look at some other bits we want to add. I don't know. Let's see. I really like this neck as well, but that's a separate piece. I guess this plate's kind of fun. And so again, like, there's not really an easy way for me to provide a table of like, okay, here are all the parts, these are the names, these are what they look like. But you should quite quickly learn, stuff with a chain will have chain in it, stuff with a plate will be called plate. Cuirass is kind of the name of this big center armor bit. Necks are all the neck guards, etc. But one thing that is helpful is there is a file all the way at the bottom of chest called chest hidden. And so the way that character customization in Space Marine works is all the bits are rendered visible by default, and unless they're added to an item. So what we have here is a hidden chest piece that contains every single bit that the characters have. So then that way that they're not kind of displaying by default. What this also means is it's quite a good little list for you to go and take a look at and go, ooh, these pieces sound cool, let's take a look. So in this case, we're going to go all the way down to Tacticus Cuirass. I've tried to put it in alphabetical order as well, so stuff's kind of grouped in a way that makes sense. And let's take Tacticus Cuirass Ammo. I think that piece sounds kind of cool. So we're now going to go up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to search for Tacticus Chest 00, because that's what we named our file. It just makes it a bit quicker to get back to what we wanted. I'm going to paste that in. So these two are probably going to clip a bit, but that's fine for the sake of this example. So we're going to save this. And let's have a quick conversation about the heads and what's going on here. Or really the helmets. So the way that we've set it up where we have the different pieces hiding or unhiding depending on what helmet you have is I've edited their materials to create essentially an invisible like sub-material. And we add an override on any mesh where we don't want one of the accessories or heads to be visible. We add this section of code, which you can copy and paste from any of the existing ones, and then we add the bits we want to hide. So on the first Tacticus helmet, it's your standard Primaris helmet. We don't want the heads to be visible because you end up with hair and kind of lips and things poking through it. And likewise, we don't want the Chaplain bonding studs or the Mark 7 bonding studs because they're different sizes and shapes to the regular ones. So we hide those. We also hide their kind of lenses and glass that's associated with kind of the bionic eyes of different characters. So we hide those as well. Some of the characters we have half heads, and those are mainly used on the Phobos characters where they've got kind of mouth covers or little kind of face masks and things they don't want their nose poking through. So that's why we have these kind of half heads listed here. But yeah, so we've made ourselves a custom chest. Taking a look at the head or the helmets. What combination could we do in here? I don't know, let's have a think. I think we could probably take this eagle and chuck it onto, I don't know, probably be cursed, but I feel like it could probably go onto one of these. Although I think that might be what this one is. Yeah, it is. Let's see. See, someone's got their hand raised, so I'll take a look at the chat. Okay. All the cosmetics you've shown off are going to be part of the kit bashing add-on to the mod. The base mod are just examples of things you've made with capabilities. So yeah, all of these are going to be included. I've spent a long time splitting up all of these parts in ways that then allow people to kind of kit bash and merge things together. So yeah, don't worry, that'll all be available. Let's try, it's going to be cursed, but let's try merging the Chaplain helmet with the Face Eagle. So we know that the second to last Gravis helmet is using the Face Eagle. So if we look for Gravis helmet, the wings aren't cape, they're a jump pack edition, but I could probably push them into the cape slot. I don't see why not. So we're going to go down the Gravis helmets, and it is second to last one. So here we go, Tacticus Helmet 07 faceplate is the bit that we're after. And we're now going to go down to our Chaplain helmets. Cool, so big old list of stuff that we hide because it's a very close formed helmet and we don't want bits showing through. But I'm just going to paste our little name thing here just for a moment while it's safe. We're now going to duplicate Chaplain Helmet 01 and we're going to call this Chaplain Helmet 00_eagle or something. And we're going to take this piece that we got and we're going to add it to our helmet. So in the past I used commas after all the speech marks. They're not needed, it works without them. However, if you had one but then not one in the rest of the list, that would cause issues. So it's easier just go no commas and it all works. So we're now going to save this, so we now have our new eagle piece and we have our new chest piece. Right, let's load it up and see what happens. Fingers crossed it'll work. So something I should mention while it's loading is that heads and helmets tend to be split up into three parts. You have the kind of the base helmet, you then have the glass and the lenses, and all three generally need to be included whenever you reference or list a helmet. So keep an eye out for those, and you'll see I'll tend to kind of list them together. Tacticus Head 02, lenses, glass, because that's what allows the lenses to be colorable. And the glass needs to be separate because it's a translucent material. Okay. The one thing I'll reiterate while we're stuck in loading screen is please do not unlock or use DLC items until they're out, and when they do, we'll go over how to add the tags for DLC. I've got these are currently in the file because I'm future-proofing it. Oh, that was a regular, that wasn't a proper crash, that was just, I think, my PC struggling a bit. Okay, with that, I think we're going to jump back down into general, because I've kind of gone over the main, these are all the core bits where, people in silence, and we can open it up to more of a kind of conversation as I screen share. This is, just for armor for now. Weapons, you can't really kit bash at the moment because they're all their individual bits. Right, I'll see you all down in general. And we added a chest piece.
Okay, who the fuck?
Thank you, whoever's doing that. So let's go down to our chaplain helmets. There we go. It's kind of cool.
Nice.
That does
And we
look
can
pretty badass, actually.
go to our chest pieces, and we had added. Ah, yeah, here we go. Our first bit, allegedly, this is ammunition with our new neck piece and our rope. But, yeah. And go back to, I don't know, Space Wolf or something.
Oh, what happened? We moved?
Yes. Yeah, just so it could kind of open it up to more questions. I'd gone over kind of the core basics without getting too distracted.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was in on the tail end, but it looks very simple to be able to use.
Yeah, it's relatively straightforward. Again, like the really, really big ones that will catch people out are... So let me just share my regular screen so we can reinforce them one more time. So the two big ones to avoid are making sure that these are unique names. You don't want them to be kind of reused. If you've got two of the same one, the game just won't start. You'll be stuck in the kind of menu. And then the other one to keep an eye on is these material overrides. So if you end up with like characters' heads poking through your helmets, you probably haven't set up the invisible material override on your helmet properly.
Yeah, that's actually another question I should probably ask. So, like, let's say you don't use completely unique models or assets for your kit bash. You use the in-game items for it. Will people see those on their end?
No. So this file is, this doesn't get shared with other people. This is just local on your PC. So your PC is aware that I have, this Tacticus helmet Mark 801 equipped. You then join a lobby. Your PC will then tell someone else's PC, hey, I have Tacticus helmet Mark 801 equipped. Their PC goes, I don't know what that helmet is, therefore it won't render anything. Because, yeah, it doesn't have the data available to do it. Trust me when I say you wouldn't want their PC to be able to download, like send that data, unsecured. So like that could lead to very bad things. That's how kind of viruses would be sent over the Call of Duty like text chat stuff.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Does it make a new slot in the armory, for, like when you put a new helmet in?
Yes, yeah, that's all done automatically. So we got new.
So a brand new, yeah. Lovely.
Greg Golden Gate Bridge, your mic's open. Heads up.
And would I need the Nexus version of Starties or the supported version of Starties to work with it?
So all this is currently in the supporters version. I should be opening it up fairly soon. I just want to make sure that we have a version that's kind of mostly there, because it'll be a pain if everyone ends up being out of sync with all their parts.
Yep. And that would some of these aren't ready for that yet, are they?
No, they're not. Yeah, there's some
That's okay.
issues on going through and working out how to do their weapons and stuff. So yeah, one other thing to mention on the subject of DLC. So again, reminder, like using screenshotting DLC stuff that's not available yet to kind of purchase and play with is a big no-no. Saber have given us these tools, we need to be responsible. However, if you use a DLC piece, let's say we want to use a Dark Angels piece, which is out, totally fine, you can do that. So champion armor. What you do need to do though is if we go into, let's see, so this would be a chest piece and it'll be let's see.
Yeah, no, did I not tell you? I drink so much
Turn
milk.
this list.
Yeah, here, season 2.
1 second. So it's gonna need some.
73.
Okay. Right, season 2, where is it? Did I miss it?
Just
Did I go
above,
past?
here.
Ah, here we go. So yeah, you'll see there's a section here called DLC Lock. It has the DLC UID saying, which season pass is it. You should be able to find most of them kind of in the file if you just search for DLC UID. It says, what's the reason why this is locked. There were various reasons. So all you need to do is copy this and you put it after the kind of the meshes section. So this bracket. If in doubt, feel free to reach out to myself or one of the kind of more usual kind of kit basher people like Crack, etc. And I'm sure we'll be willing to give you guys some advice on how to do it. But so yeah, on that subject, because ideally, you're all playing in multiplayer, you want people to be able to kind of see your cool creations and stuff. We'll be running a competition. I can't give firm dates yet because it's kind of dependent on once you release these kind of model pieces to everyone to use. and yeah, basically that we'll do some sort of voting. We'll have some judges and things, and the kind of the most liked, kind of the coolest items that people seem to get a kick out of will then integrate into the mod to try and get at least some of the bits. But,
Is there anything
Again-
that you would recommend not doing when it comes to like the do's and don'ts on like a
don't
simple
unlock
level?
don't unlock the DLC. It's the simple one. You know, if Saber have some, if you're using Dark Angel bits, add the Dark Angel DLC lock. If we find people abusing it or unlocking stuff, they will, will take it very seriously, and there'll be bans.
And this goes for not
Uh,
only for Dark Angels, just all
Yeah,
the DLCs.
any DLC bits, yeah, whether it be pros, whether it be, Blood Angels, Space Wolves, whatever. It should be behind a lock. One quite good tactic you can do is if you see, okay, here's a bunch of pieces, I don't really know what they do. There's nothing stopping you like taking a bunch of them, and like what's the best way to put it? Stuff doesn't necessarily have to be in the chest slot or the head slot or the cloak slot. You can put shoulders in the chest if you want. So what you could do is you could create a blank piece of every armor. Create a blank shoulder, blank leg, blank whatever, and then put a bunch of pieces at once into a chest slot item. So you can see, okay, if I grab all of these soldier pieces and chuck them in, let's see what it looks like. So you can then kind of quite quickly nail down, okay, if I've got no idea what, let's say, the Phobos common coats do, grab a bunch of them and throw them in, get a look at them. But yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of pieces. I've spent a lot of time and effort kind of chopping them up, making them kind of accessible and usable and kitbashable. There will be some bugs, like not everything at the moment has physics. Most of it does, but there's the odd piece here and there that I've missed. But that's a, work in progress.
Would you recommend trying to stay away from DLC stuff for it to be so if someone does win, that if it does go into a start, is that everyone will be able to use it instead of people that haven't got the DLC and might be able to use the pieces correctly?
No, not really, because I'm happy to encourage people to buy the DLC. Like, everyone here's kind of been, I'd imagine, getting a lot of hours out of Space Marine. And whatever you think of DLC and microtransactions, I'd rather Saber keep supporting the game, making a horde mode, creating all this. I'm limited in what I can say, but they've got very cool stuff coming down the line. And yeah, I want the game to succeed, and I want them to make Space Marine 3 as good as they can, and to support mods and, do even more stuff with the modding kind of community for the next game.
Definitely.
Now, in terms of customizing, like, let's say a piece that's clipping, how do you go about doing that?
It's really Juan. Can you mute yourself, please, or I'll server mute you. There's honestly, it's just trial and error, trying to work out which pieces do and don't. So, like, bags is kind of a pain. It might be an idea to take screenshots and kind of create that kind of mental record of, okay, or at least, go, okay, I know these bags on this character are safe if I copy them and chuck them on. I mean, if you compare, you go, okay, they're probably not going to work too nicely with the hip plates. If I, where is it? So you'll see these ones will be going over it. Same on the other side. But yeah, there's not a particularly easy way outside of just eyeballing it. One thing that you can do is if you open up index. Again, once stuff's in a mod pack, it should be openable via index, I think, I hope. But if we go into like let's see, soldier. So bear in mind the pieces have been renamed, but not so significantly that this shouldn't be useful. But so if we open up to this, it should at least give you a kind of idea of a visual thing you can look at for like bags and things.
Easy solution, remove the bags.
Yes, yeah. What seems to be the popular one. Or the equivalent.
I hate the bags.
Problem is they don't, like, you couldn't actually fit any ammunition in them. They're too small for like the gun magazine.
Yeah, they don't make sense.
They keep their Warhammer figures, their dice. Okay, that
Just
didn't
one bullet
load.
inside.
Let's try again. Come on, you bust. Yeah,
Yeah,
if index
that's
doesn't
the
load
thing.
something, the usual answer is to close it and open it again.
Yeah, it's always
Usually
doing this on the first one you load.
Yeah.
Is the campaign armor pieces in there at all with it, or not yet?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Well, some of them are like the Deathwatch stuff, but yeah,
Yeah.
not all. Again,
Like
it's what I'm
yeah.
like trying to finalize before I release
Yeah.
it.
Like Titus chest piece would be very useful.
Oh, Index, yeah, I don't think Index is liking the amount of RAM I've got with the game open and Discord and things. But yeah, so in Index, you see you get a visual thing, a big list of all the model names, and so usually they should match with the name Tacticus instead of like Soldier or Phobos instead of Sniper or Berserker or Raider, whatever they're called. And I did
Yeah,
that because they've got a lot of shared like pieces across them, and so I wanted to kind of have as few 3D models as possible in the character, because as you can see, there's a shit ton. And otherwise, if I kept like every piece with the unique names, we'd have an insane amount of meshes inside a character file, and it'd be too big for the game to handle. So I've been stripping it down where possible. And inevitably, because that meant chopping up the character meshes, it was easier to go, right, we'll rename all of it while trying to keep the kind of the base pieces where we can, but as well having it in a way where you can kind of make sense of what pieces are what.
yeah, it's explicit enough.
Yeah.
I have a question about the assault legs with the thrusters.
Yes.
How will it be handled?
So those legs are right now there. I don't think I've got them visible here because I haven't finished setting stuff up. But those are a special case, and those ones are called right here actually. Shin 2. So Shin 1 is your regular, Primaris tactical intercessor. Shin 2 is the one with the little jets on the back for your assault marines. And Shin 3 is the tank blade guard legs with these things on it.
Okay. So
And then all the
basically, we're
it's
better
work.
off not putting the legs in the shell parts.
Sorry, say
So
again.
we better not put the.
Oh yes, okay, yes, you're right. Yeah, so the legs right now, yeah, they are in the shared parts, but what I'll probably do is, I mean, it's a question of do we care if we have access to the assault legs on every class and vice versa. There are good arguments, pros and cons. I think on assault it looks a bit weird because you end up with like jets coming out of nothing.
Yep.
But yeah, it does mean that we know, like, if we do move the legs, we then suddenly have 6 pairs of legs or 6 sets of all the legs on each character. But at the same time, it
That's
gives
okay.
a better end experience to the players. So
There's not that much legs.
yeah, I think that's what we'll end up doing. Well, there aren't that many yet. There
Yeah,
are quite a lot
I
of
know.
combinations of like knee pad or skull or whatever this trim is, plus. Oh, actually, that's.
Seals
I guess the eagles are on the other leg. I'll probably mirror some across, so we've got some options. Oh, I've not added the big eagles aren't visible yet. But yeah, lots of different combinations we can do.
Does the chaos armors come without the emblems at all, or so I could mix them together, or no?
What you mean the knee pad? No, they're kind of baked in.
Oh, I see. So no Mark 7.
Not yet, but
Eventually.
we'll have Mark 8 fairly soon. Again, these I don't think are too far off. So what I did here was I swapped the knee pad because that's really the bit chaosifying it, and I was then going to do a slightly cleaner texture job on these, but I haven't got around to it yet because there's a shit ton to do, as you can imagine.
Shit ton to do, not enough time.
Yeah. One piece of advice as well is that the relationship between the suits and the belts and the legs is quite defined, because the belt on the kind of tactical marine is in a very different place to the belt on the Phobos marine, which is in a very different place to the belt on the Gravis, and so on and so forth. So there's quite a lot of relationship between the belts and the undersuits, so you'll want to keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
Which is why I haven't got these pieces as cloaks or tabards, because they've got their own kind of belt crotch setup.
I figured that's why, honestly.
Because yeah, the bags. Then if you kind of keep an eye on where these bags are when we switch, you see they wouldn't work with the Phobos belt.
Hmm.
Is there any way to unbind the belt from said piece to make it more customizable, or no?
Yeah, I'll probably end up like rescaling and pushing and pulling it around so that all the belts are kind of at the same height. Because I don't think there's a great reason why not. You see, these are almost the same, but it's just the
Pretty
Phobos or the Gravis one comes out a lot further. But
I
I could
was
probably
thinking
do
just for like kitbash purposes for like different buckles and whatnot with like the skulls and.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Not easily, but yeah, we'll see and work out if there are things we can do. Well, yeah, hopefully it allows us to create some, or hopefully people like this extended kind of customization stuff because we can do some pretty nifty stuff where beforehand it would have, because we were looking at going, okay, are we now going to have like a version of every helmet with the goggles and the skull and the head crest and like
Hmm.
it then meant you had kind of 12 versions of each helmet, and if you've got then 17 helmets, there's suddenly 200 entries, which was it was just getting a bit silly. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
Krithiel and I made the call to expand the character customization slots.
Before I head out, I just gotta say, making Conquest, making the head was awesome.
Very cool.
All right, y'all have a good one.
Mhm.
You too?
Take it easy, man.
Is there any type of customizations that you're looking to implement that you haven't talked about yet?
Yeah, like further campaign bits, the death, like the Mark 8 armor. I want to get that kind of colorable and properly done. Bunch of guardsman bits, I think, various like commissar hats and stuff, just because they're fun. Why not? If people want to wear a big old
Fucking hat.
Soviet
yeah.
S-cat, go nuts. Just get them in. So even if maybe they're not visible in base Astartes, we might, just be there for people to expand. Because again, this making this has genuinely been about 2 months minimum of work. So there's not much point in putting people through the misery of kind of doing it all over again. So might as well just keep expanding this with.
Sorry to bother you guys again. I'm actually back in here for an unrelated question. I noticed you posted a test part 1 and part 2 in the supporters. What are those?
That's this.
That's
Oh.
the whole class customization because it kind of I'm assuming it didn't work with the Astartes right now. So if y'all want to fuck around with it, who are supporters, you got to have a fresh vanilla game.
Yeah.
To put it
So
over it.
essentially, this is my attempt to be kind of charitable to the mod community. I'm not building it like baked into Astartes, because then that would mean that
Mhm.
anyone wanting to make use of this for their own mods would have to use
Yeah.
Astartes as a baseline, which
That's true.
I know some people aren't the biggest fans of it for whatever reason. So I'm trying to build a clean version that's like cool. Okay, it's like 6 files that people can then take and run with, and then
Do their
Ethereal and
thing.
I can work on integrating it into Astartes and all the extra kind of weird and wonderful custom features that we've got.
All right. Well, that's actually really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
No worries. Let's make a nifty iron hand. Look at this guy. Great. Are there any other questions? You get the chat?
No, not really.
What's been the biggest challenge on your end for developing all this? Like, what would you say was been the easiest versus like the most difficult?
I'd say, like, honestly, the most difficult is finding the time you know, because having like again, I've got a full-time job working at CDPR, girlfriend, family commitments, and things. So it's a boring answer, but it's true. Like it's kind of why the Kofi and stuff's quite important because it helps me justify like, hey guys, I've got commitments and people like expecting cool stuff I need to work on.
Yeah.
The trickiest bit is actually getting the decals working. Right now, the decals seem to cause an insta crash, and I'm not quite sure why. I do have them working now on some pieces. So yeah, if we edit up this guy, pick up this me or something.
I know it works for the first two legs, or knee pads.
Yeah, so we'll open them up. What's suitable one? Like, I guess should be fine.
Have you run into any complications from the devs themselves, like in terms of like what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do?
Again, the ones. Okay, yeah. So I just need to add the decals. So just as a quick heads up to people doing kind of knees and things, it should just be a case of you can like copy the decal entries from one knee to another, and there might be a little bit of kind of floaty decal syndrome, but they should work on the whole. Yeah, as far as the devs saying what not to do and what to do, it goes to Heart Rock. Like people just being dicks and trying to unlock DLC early and stuff is the big one to not avoid. I'll reiterate again, like anyone doing it or using it for Reddit and whatever, like we'll find you, we'll ban you, and you won't be welcome back on the server.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a big one.
Has there been like any hints of like classes to stay away from when it comes to like development? Because you might think that Saber may have a plan for said class in the future.
No, not really. Again, we've been making chaplain and apothecary and kind of tech marine bits and things, so it's very, I think we're Saber are happy for us to try and make cool stuff and give them inspiration for whatever it is that they're building.
Yeah.
Or at least
pretty
feedback,
much.
see what the community likes, see what they don't like.
Pretty much.
So is it just modifying the standard tactical, or is it across all of them?
No, it's across all of them.
So okay.
Ooh.
Ooh,
And the wings, do they need the DLC modifier? Because I know
It's
they
not
come from the DLCs.
yes, they would. Yeah.
Okay.
I can sort this.
That's
It's because I've added a new piece but not set it up. So I've set it on the soldier but not the other characters. But I'll be doing that fairly shortly.
Yeah, of course.
Because they're all using the same model now, so they need the same physics set up.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So basically just copying the whole clothes theme, I guess.
Yeah, we'll go over. Yeah, I guess I can quickly share that. Yeah, DLC items are named like Dark Angel, so yeah, DA Tank or Blood Angels or Space Wolf, or yeah, they're all. I've left the names on those the same.
Yeah.
But right, yeah, to go over the cloth stuff. Cloth is a pig. I wouldn't really recommend messing with it too much if you can avoid it. But so in here we have all our kind of various cloth files and things. We're actually going to go down to tweak the thighs a bit. Because right now they're too thin, so stuff's clipping through it. So we're going to go to 0.2 on these. And there was a pelvis, which was this one. Actually, those are okay.
Are these basically the fixing points for the cloth?
No, these are the kind of collision capsules that are used for the cloth to like bump into and kind of knock into and stuff. But so what I'm going to do now is essentially copy these settings And we're going to paste it into all of the characters, which is a very boring job, but needs doing. What I'm thinking of doing, Ethereal, is setting, like, basically building up all of this stuff in the base PvE and PvP characters, because they're all shared now, and then that way we only need to do it once, but until I've tested whether all that works, for now, we'll do it this way, boring as it is.
Come again now? I wasn't paying attention.
I see how it is. Can't believe you've done this. I was saying that we can set up all the cloth and stuff in the base PvE class instead of doing it like manually in each of these, because they're
Oh,
all
okay.
inheriting from like the same thing. But I just
Oh.
I haven't like gone through and set that up yet, but I probably should to save myself some misery. No, I'm not threatening you, Harrock. I'm saying for all the 40 people in here that it's very much a big, no-go zone. But don't take that as having targeted you. It's more of a general, like, I don't want people saying I hadn't warned them.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've got, we don't have much in the way of rules on this server. I think we're quite relaxed. But that is, quite a red line. Okay, are there, any other questions?
So just to confirm from my understanding,
Yep.
I own the Ultramarine Champion pack.
Yep.
So I still would not be allowed to use the Ultramarine Champion content, right?
No, you would. You just have to make sure that it's tagged with the appropriate DLC stuff so that if you were to share the mod with anyone else, that they'd have to own the DLC to use it as well.
Okay.
About event exclusive stuff. Was it?
Same for that.
Yeah.
They come with tags. It's called like pros or something along those lines.
Yep.
So yeah, they'll need to be set up and
Yeah.
marked accordingly.
Did you say so Titus's armor from the campaign isn't in right now? Like not the Death Watch, just the standard.
No, not currently, because again, none of
Okay.
it's kind of colorable and things, and so
Oh
there's a
yeah,
whole
yeah.
process that needs to be done.
Yep. So I figured.
Right, we're nearly done. Then we should have nicely working cloth on all the classes, and if we don't, I'll just shoot myself.
Fire, and you miss.
Yep. And then these are all the PvP characters, which I'm less worried about. Cool. Okay, let's give that another go. Right. Fingers crossed. So yeah, while this loads, if we just take a look at skip down to the shins. Oh my god, so I might put this file all the way at the bottom somewhere because right now it kind of gets in the way, which is a bit annoying. Yeah, so you see here we've got the various decals kind of listed out. Some will fit better on other meshes than others. It's just something to keep an eye out, mix and match, experiment with a bit, see what works. Okay, good news, it hasn't crashed. Hopefully we'll get further good news. And no, we're not stuck in any loops.
Oh, we're about to find out.
The attachment stuff I'm working on, need to set up some bones and bits. But that will be working. At least in the full release. And if it's not in the full release, it won't be long until it gets updated to include that. Okay, cloth is behaving itself. That's a hopeful sign.
Yeah.
And yeah, you see the changes that we made where it's clipping with the legs seem to be behaving. There's a little bit of an issue where the tabard here kind of, or actually, yeah, maybe that's just in the base stuff.
I think it's just due to the belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, okay, yeah,
Hey.
and these are now behaving themselves.
Great.
Beautiful.
They're very yellow.
Icon little.
So I can think of some people who'll be very happy about this particular cape because, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's got probably the best one
Yep.
for customizing and turning it into a certain size of the Emperor capes. Look, although what's an Imperial Fist without a big mustache?
Are you looking for your favorite customization? Yeah.
Oh no, he kind of looks lonely.
Thing is, like now, which is more conquest, the cyborg arm or the Death Watch? I think there are good arguments for both.
I say do both.
Yeah. Oh, but they just got 2 silver hands.
Yeah, it's kind of
Or
hard.
the Inquisitorial.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. Not hard question, but what's the word I'm looking for? I can't remember.
Understandable. Have a nice day.
Yep. That ship has sailed. Ah, yes.
Particular. Anyway, I guess that's really it for me for tonight. Hopefully everyone got a little bit of a kick out of it, got an insight into what goes in. We've got quite a lot of people in supporters and general modding and stuff who can give advice if people get kind of stuck on various bits.
Speaking
yeah.
of that, I just dropped box cutter and hard ops and general modding if any of you guys need it for Blender for learning how to create things of your own.
Wait, you dropped what?
Actually, I did want to ask a question.
Yeah.
Mainly on that suggestion I gave you, I want to say a week ago now, about the Terminator and the Chapter Master. Could that be possible, or is that's still up in the air right now?
The Terminator stuff's still a work in progress.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's my question.
Hey, we've got early versions of Titus's.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, textures are bugs.
very
Sobs.
it's very Space Marine 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, to crack Calgar parts will be income as well.
Alright.
So basically, be able to use some underarm gauntlets, stuff like that
Yeah.
from Calgar. Cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely something going on with the. Need to reduce this ever so slightly because it's pushing the cloth out from behind the belt. But again, it's all solvable.
Hey K3, check general modding channel.
Yeah, I just saw it. Appreciate it.
There we go. There's our version of, I guess, Conquest / Money Man. I might turn the moustache into a attachment for each of the heads, just because it'd be funny.
Hell yeah.
Isn't he friendly?
Very.
Beautiful.
And yeah, we also have shock horror, gasp, terrified.
My
Ew.
God. How could you? I don't think I could even jump anyway.
This head reminds me of someone, I'm just not quite sure who. I feel it might be a guy called Frank Grizzo, I think. He played, I think he was Skull and Bones, whatever, in Avengers at some point.
Oh yeah. Crossbones.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I was
Crossbones.
I was either thinking a mix between Frank Castle or Benjamin
Grillo.
Cumberbatch or Cumberbatch, man. Anyway,
I kind of think of the guy from like the main actor in what was it? Peaky Blinders. Yeah, there we go.
Maybe, but I
Just
think
a
the
little
brother, I think
Frank
you could
Grillo
argue,
makes
the
sense.
older Shelby, whatever he's called.
Yeah, that's true.
Arthur, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was also
One's
thinking.
caps.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Thanos.
That's a lot of
Thanos
faces.
actor.
I was also
Question.
thinking maybe a younger version of the old Doctor from the new series or new.
New.
It ain't new anymore, but new.
But you could do some, quite fun stuff with those heads.
Oh yeah.
Wait, would you get in trouble for using Henry Cavill's head or face?
I don't think so.
I imagine not, considering it would be his face and he's a massive Warhammer nerd.
Yep.
He'd probably download it himself, to be honest.
Yeah.
Did you ever get the
Yeah.
Trump face working?
No, not yet. Yeah, a bit of Josh Brolin.
Remember last time you were like, it was really hard to find a picture of him.
Oh, a picture is easy. Finding a bottle's a bit harder.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself commissioning third party for some face models, or you think you're covered for that?
I mean, I could just make them if I wanted to, but
Yeah.
Just model yourself. I want to play with Warhammer Workshop in a Space Marine suit.
I want to take his face off.
Nice. Off.
How do
Yes,
you
we
go
had
about
Nicolas
like
Cage,
making your
Space-
own? Let's say you wanted to make like your own 3D model, which kind of like replicates, let's say, a different game model, right? But it's completely designed by you from the ground up. How do you avoid getting, like a copyright or anything like that?
For that one, it's just best to hope, I guess. But
That honestly,
yeah, like,
I've been hearing stuff
Yeah, find
as
an
of
IP that
today.
doesn't strike down everything.
Yeah.
Mm. I was
so
gonna
I'd
say,
take
like,
the
that was like my
suppressors off
biggest
these and
question
put
when
them on
like
the list.
wanting to
So-
create like something specific. I was kind of just like, I don't want to try to create something, put all that time into it if it's just gonna get like strike down. So
I mean,
yeah, it's why again for Astartes we have a quite a hard rule of no kind of just random third-party stuff. We're only including things that we either have the rights to or are already in the Space Marine.
okay,
So we've been in talks with third-party kind of model 3D printing shop things just to get some of their designs and things in because again they own them, they've got the rights to them. They can
Yeah.
send us the raw files, but random STLs off Sketchfab, there's no guarantee that whoever's uploaded it, even if they put Creative Commons license 3, etc., that they actually have the right to do that. And again, random models off Gary's Mod and things or other games, they're very much grey areas, putting it mildly.
Too gray, probably.
Yeah. And so yeah, I don't want to risk the Astartes getting.
Is there a face generation tool that you've seen that could be compatible with the game? Like I know, there's only MetaHuman that does faces really well at the moment. What is there any others that you've seen that could fit well into the game?
Yeah, outside of MetaHuman, not really. They kind of, I think, cornered the market on that front.
Jesus Christ.
Good Christ.
Jesus.
I guess someone's watching. Who's making all that noise?
Need to play with cheeks, dude.
There we go.
said he was
Have you
clapping
checked?
cheeks.
Have you had a chance to look if it's possible to use the MetaHuman architecture to do this kind of modeling, or is it?
I think it's quite a quick Google, but I'm fairly sure Epic have stuff saying it has to be used in Unreal projects. Might be mistaken, but to easily double check. I guess he's kind of feeling a bit white scars with his color scheme.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Tiny blue space.
Yeah,
Okay, there we go. I hope that was helpful for everyone. Yeah, any questions? There are lots of people here who've been doing kit bashing for a long time. Good luck.
Yeah. Actually, another one just came in my head. Anything on modifiers? I think it would be immensely funny to have a just cultist mode.
Yeah, mod packs would allow us to do that sort of thing, but that'll only be really possible once the big update comes out.
Gotcha.
Should be exciting because it means we'll be able to split Astartes up into kind of a lot more sub-components. So if you want checkpoints, you can just install all the checkpoints.
Or make it absolutely mega brutal.
Let's see how the jetpack behaves with the cape.
I think it'll work fine, but realistically, it'd probably be a bad idea to have a cape and a jetpack at the same time.
Nah, just look at the Night Lords. They have skin capes.
Ye of little faith.
Skin has a harder time catching fire than fabric.
Do you see the amount of oil that we put on them?
Space Marines operate on is this practical level.
Yeah. Besides, that's not that. Actually, never mind.
Oh, I never said anything needs to be practical.
They will be in the next update. At least some of them. Potentially, yeah. It'll probably take time for that to be done because it'll require new textures and kind of potentially different setups, but we'll see. Fingers crossed. Well,
No.
yeah.
Or-
What I'm saying is
or-
it'll just take time.
Yeah. Okay.
I know with a lot of the KTS work that he's done, with like doing like coloring for like cloth
This will be different
textures.
on the- Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. What I was gonna say is I know the bulwark cloth shoulder was always like a really, really tough one for him. Maybe they have that sorted out.
Well, because what you will need to do is create like base colorless versions of all the capes and probably unify the materials that they're made out of a bit more. So kind of they're all a little bit of that kind of sackcloth fabric or something. And then yeah, you tint them just like we do armor, etc. And we can have different kind of tints, have different material types. So you've got more of a kind of smooth one, more of a
That looks so
Gotcha.
clean, by the way.
I just remember him saying that specific thing was very, very tough.
I hate the Carnifex so much.
the last thing a Tyranid see before judgment is at hand.
I did.
I think I found it.
KTS. Yeah, whatever. That guy.
Somewhere along the lines.
Yeah, safe to say I think the cape works quite well with the jetpack.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah.
As well as resplendent sets of wings. I'll see if I can add jiggle physics to them so they bounce around a bit. I could potentially as well rig them to be attached to because these actual thrusters kind of rotate a bit as you're flying.
Oh, that's cool.
Fun to get those integrated a bit more.
I think I found a face generation tool, which was like which was MetaHuman before MetaHuman. Manual, what's it called? Manuel Bastioni Lab.
Yep.
I don't know if you've heard of it. I don't know. It's just a matter of figuring out how to get the facial rigs to work.
Oh, cool. Blood is working too.
Yeah. Get some bloody wings. I'd love to be able to set them to like kind of burn a bit like the purity seals based on getting chaos corruption, but that's probably a bit hopeful. Like as well to
Yeah.
get this. It's quite fun.
Yeah.
I might see if I can set up subsurface on the cloth as well. So you can see we've got it coming through the wings.
Oh, that's nice.
Would make sense to get it a bit on the capes.
What about cloth decals as well? Would that ever be possible? Like for like just
Yeah, potentially. I'd love to. Yeah, they've got that weird bug where the camera every once in a while. I think it's like a gimbal lock issue or something.
I actually just thought about the something because of what he just said. During the kitbash event, are we only allowed to use kitbash content for that, or can we use anything?
What do you mean?
So, like, say someone's really good at making content and they know how to put decals on the capes, but no one else knows how to do that, and they're the only one in the competition who has a decal on their cape because they know how to do it. Would that be allowed?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be impressed if someone pulled that off, but sure, I don't see why not.
Okay.
I'd say that the chances of people doing that sort of thing are very small. But yeah, I mean, if someone was able to, then that'd be very impressive. And
Well, it was just an
yeah,
example.
fair to recognize it. Yeah, yeah.
Just ends up with a blank space marine with a cape.
We'd
Yeah.
probably, if people are like submitting kind of custom models and stuff they've done, then that would probably fit under a separate like category.
Hmm.
Uh, I want to avoid adding new textures where possible because they massively kind of bloat the files. So I'd rather we save it for basically CCs that we then can use when the next update comes out, and cloth will just be colorable rather than having like a red coat, a green coat, a blue coat, etc. There's probably a
When
better
does
way to do it
the-
as well than the way we're currently doing it, which is to have just a white one, and then you can use the material editor to create your red, blue, green versions without needing a texture. You just tint it.
Hmm.
Sure, yeah. Yeah.
And when is the deadline for that contest?
Hasn't started. It'll be like this will kind of need to be out to an extent. Like what I'll probably do is release an early version here that doesn't go onto Nexus, and then we can kind of fill it out with content, add all the different chest pieces and legs and stuff that people come up with that kind of fit and hit that right level of kind of quality that we expect. And yeah, we'll then get it onto Nexus where it could then be used by all sorts of people.
Gotcha.
Oh, fuck's texting me.
God.
I do
Spam.
wish that they held
this
their
is how
arms
God looks.
slightly straighter when they. Well, it's
even
because they've animated it where it looks good on camera when you're
Mhm.
playing, but less good when you're spectating.
It's even less straightened when you don't zoom. You just shoot it. It's even more arched then.
Yeah.
They're cowboys. What don't you understand? The town of Ira Free.
My poor wings. Look what those Tyranids have done to them.
Nah, they're good now. They're perfect now. You can drink from them.
That is disgusting.
Save it for later.
Save for later.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. That's
All
all.
angels are literal vampires.
It's called Sanguinella.
Okay.
No, they do it all the time.
Brains of their
Before
victims.
we start
Yeah,
going
Yeah.
turbo autism.
That's literally what they do. That's half of the fucking chapter thingy.
Besides, it's waste not, want not.
But anyway, so yeah, hopefully people are excited. I think there's some quite cool stuff coming in this update.
Yeah.
Every time I think, this is probably the last really, really cool one we get to do, we manage to find something else to.
Okay, that looks a lot better. Actually, kind of figured out a little bit. Cool, nice.
Is the halo on that helmet colored separately, or is it the whole helmet thingy?
Yeah, it's colored separately.
Nice.
For you. It is. Fairly. Yeah, I'd basically need to set up some rules that basically say if something's called accessory, use right bracer color instead. Which yeah, would be easy enough. Basically.
Nice. Now that helmet is probably gonna be stuck to every fucking thing I ever make from that update, so on.
No, the Mark 7 or the Halo thing.
The Halo. Oh, because the Halo is an accessory. Oh, you did it. Oh, you beautiful man. Yeah, that's about to be on every fucking Marine.
It's just the Halo.
Oh, that's a nice face.
It is.
What is that? That's like, oh, it's like the intercessor. Oh, okay, I get it. It's the mask. Gravis and the mask from the fucking. Ooh, someone's been playing. What was the name
Splinter
of the
Cell.
game? Splinter Cell, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Find normal head.
she means just the Space Marine's face. Yeah, like that.
Yeah, pretty much. This shit's about to be nice.
That helmet goes disturbingly well with the beaky helmet.
Are you on like a version that has like everything that the whole team has made by this far?
No, not yet.
No? Okay, that's not even it. Okay.
This is not even our
Interesting to
final
know.
form.
Yeah.
Yeah, so part of it will be the kit bashes being included in the mod. We'll probably like include a little bit of text about, the person's name or whoever in the description stuff, because we need to start like, giving it all names and things. Yeah, I might have some prizes. Pick up some.
Will you?
I mean, yeah.
What's that?
I mean, I think it's all kind of been said and done for the most part.
Yep.